Where do the Boston Celtics go from here? You see, if you haven't been keeping up with the NBA, then you probably don't know that the Boston Celtics have just been eliminated from the playoffs after losing in the Eastern Conference Finals for the second time in 3 years to the Miami Heat. Now, while they were able to come back after losing the first 3 games in the series, it didn't matter because the Celtics were unable to close out in Game 7. And because of that, Boston's looking at a pretty rough offseason. You see, Jaylen Brown is up for a Supermax, which is basically the highest amount a player can make in a single contract because he's been with the team his whole career. Now, that doesn't mean that the Celtics are going to give that to him. You see, Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum have been a duo ever since the latter got drafted to the team back in, 2017, which is the year I'm pretty sure that Jayson Tatum was drafted. Anyway, these two stars have been together for 6 years, and what have they accomplished in that 6-year period? Well, let's take a look at it. In Jayson Tatum's rookie season and Jaylen Brown's sophomore season, the team went ahead and got 55 wins. A ton, by the way, the most they had won since the KG era. Anyway, they got 55 wins in 2018 and ended up losing in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, that was a year that Kyrie Irving was still on the team, and Kyrie would continue to be on that team for maybe another year or so, but the team lost in the conference finals. Didn't matter though, because that was Tatum's rookie year, so he was gonna get developed eventually, and they were gonna conquer that hill, right? Well, in 2019, Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown's second year together, the team won a little less games, and then they lost a round earlier, this time in the Eastern Conference semis. And after 2 playoff failures, they decide to part ways with Kyrie Irving. He's gone now. And before we continue on, how about slowing down, scrolling up, and pressing that subscribe button? Because only 1% of the people watching right now are subscribed. Yes, 99% of my viewers are unsubscribed. So it would help the channel immensely if you click that subscribe button. We're on the road to 1,000. We're almost there. Would love if you were the 1,000th subscriber. Anyway, that's it. Let's get back to the video, right? So in 2020, Brad Stevens in the front office decide to make the executive decision and attempt to replace Kyrie Irving with Charlotte Hornets superstar Kemba Walker. Now, Kemba Walker had been on the Hornets for 9 years at that point. Super talented. Hornets were never able to build around him, so he went to a bigger market in Boston. And while in Boston, he played, I want to say, 2 seasons there. Anyway, in his first season with Boston, things didn't really go as planned. Maybe that was because of COVID, but who can say? Anyway, the Celtics go on, make solid run during the bubble, only to lose to the Miami Heat, meet them for the very first time, by the way, in 2020, and they lose to the Heat in 6 games. Now, everyone hates to see that. I mean, that's the duo's 3rd year together, and they still haven't figured it out. They've actually peaked in their first year at this point. So things are looking pretty rough heading into 2021. And 2021 rolls around. Now Tatum's considered not young. You know, Tatum and Brown are both stars at this point in 2021. And what happens? Well, let's see. In 2021, they match up against the Brooklyn Nets. Now, this Brooklyn Nets team was never able to stay healthy, but their one good run was in 2021. And they just so happened to take on the Boston Celtics, which they beat in 5 games. Now, it doesn't help that Boston didn't have Jaylen Brown for the series, and that was probably one of, if not the main factor, as to why Boston struggled so heavily against Brooklyn. I mean, Jaylen Brown wasn't really playing, so we'll cut them some slack. Anyway, 2022 rolls around, and Tatum's there, Brown's there, Kemba Walker's gone now at this point, Marcus Smart, Al Horford. You know, the team's looking very strong heading into 2022. And it showed. It was proven because this was their first finals appearance. Yes, the duo of Tatum and Brown proved everybody wrong, because heading into 2022, critics believed that this duo wasn't good enough to make the finals, and here they were against the Golden State Warriors, one of, if not the favorites in the series, to win the whole thing. Unfortunately, they were playing Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And as hard and as much as they tried to, they just couldn't come away with the victory. Now, maybe they lost the 2022 finals because they didn't have Brad Stevens. 2022 year was the year that Brad Stevens decided that he was going to step away from coaching and take a more executive role. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's more of a front office guy now, not coaching anymore. So this was their head coach Ime Udoka's first year, and they won 50 plus games, one of their best seasons ever, regular seasons. Ime Udoka took this team to the finals in his first year as a head coach. Unfortunately, things just didn't work out and ended up losing. But going into year 2, things were looking bright. I mean, Ime was a good coach. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown only continued to get better. And they added new pieces like Malcolm Brogdon in the offseason to really boost this already stacked roster. Now, Malcolm Brogdon might not be the craziest pickup, but he was a notable one. And in the offseason, Malcolm Brogdon wasn't the only player getting added. Well, I should say, wasn't the only change being made. Because reports came out that Ime may have been sleeping with a few people on the team, like Boston staff or whatever. I don't know. It was really unclear, really messy. Anyway, Ime decides to step down. They kind of fired him in a way. Again, super messy. So Boston needs a new coach. That's where Joe Mazzulla comes in, their third coach in 3 years. Now, no one expected a lot out of Joe. You know, Joe was kind of put into a tough position, just thrown out into the wolves. And I wouldn't say he delivered. I mean, if you watch my Miami Heat video, I talk a lot of shit about Joe. Not the most inspiring coach, let's just put it that way. Anyway, Joe Mazzulla in his first year as head coach for Boston, although they had a fantastic regular season, they win the first 2 rounds convincingly. I mean, their opponents weren't hot shit, but they won the first 2 rounds convincingly, bringing them to the conference finals for the 3rd time in 4 years? Yes, the Celtics lost in Game 7, how this video started out, kind of screwing over the Boston Celtics. Now, that's where this video comes full circle. Because like I said, does Jaylen Brown deserve the Supermax? Because Jayson Tatum's already got the bag. Now, his money won't really kick in for another 2 years. Same with Jaylen Brown, if he ends up signing, those big bucks won't really kick in. So if they do end up signing Jaylen Brown, they do have a 2-year period to see how this duo is going to look and see if they can find any more success. And if they don't, they're stuck paying those guys, $50, $60 million a year? Crazy for the both of them. Honestly, if I'm the Celtics front office, I'd say let it play out. Give Jaylen Brown the max and pray for the best, because y'all are going to need it. Alright, that's it for the video. Just wanted to say a quick little something about the Celtics. Catch y'all later. Much love. Deuces.